One of the most difficult things that we deal with as sentient beings is change. Especially if we're not ready for it. Especially if it's not the kind of change that we want. Even if it's gonna make things better in our lives, we are afraid of change. We don't want to change our beliefs. You find that you have very toxic beliefs, but you don't want to change these beliefs. Your beliefs don't make sense. Your beliefs are holding you back, but you don't want to change these beliefs. There are things that you believe about yourself that are holding you back. If you actually stop believing these things about yourself, your life would actually be better. But you are tied to your beliefs. Maybe you believe that you're not good enough. You might think that you don't actually want to believe that you're not good enough. Like, yeah, it's not what I want to believe, it's just what I believe. You don't realize how much you have invested emotionally in the beliefs that you have. The beliefs that you have about yourself, the beliefs that you have about the world, the beliefs that you have about life, the beliefs that you have about other people. We cling to our beliefs. We don't really own our beliefs, but we feel like we own them. There are people in our lives who are very toxic or that we're not compatible with. We can say that things can only get worse. Things can only get worse from here. But we don't want to let these people go because we're afraid of change. If I change my friends, what if the friends that I get are going to be worse than the friends that I have? So I'd rather stick to what I know. If I leave this relationship, what if the next relationship is going to be much worse? If I leave my job, what if the job that I get is going to be much worse? I made a video 3 days back talking about the importance of choosing love over fear. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I've been making and that I see other people making is that we choose fear over love. Right? We choose to do the things that we do because we are afraid. That is choosing fear over love. I'm afraid of failing, so I'm not going to try. You see, that's choosing fear over love. And we do this subconsciously most of the time. We choose fear over love. If I leave this relationship, what if I never find someone? Fear. What if I end up feeling lonely? Can I handle being alone? That's fear. We are afraid of change. It's not that we don't actually want change. We are actually afraid of it. We are afraid of experiencing new things. And what's crazy is that we know that nothing is permanent in this realm. You won't be 25 forever. You won't work where you're working forever. You won't be a student forever. You won't be here in this room forever. Things are constantly changing, and we must always be ready for change. The reason why we are afraid of change is because we are used to choosing fear over love. So when things change in our lives, we don't think that we can actually make decisions that are gonna make things better for us, right? Like, I'm already comfortable where I am. If I go and live in a different place, like what's gonna happen? It's not like things are gonna be different. I'm still gonna be the same person that I was. I'm still gonna respond to things the way that I used to respond to things. The problem is that we are choosing fear over love. Every time when I experience change in my life, if it's not the kind of change that I prefer, it takes time for me to adjust. It takes time for me to accept that things are never going to be the same again. There's always that part of me that wants things to still be the same. But if you are too attached to certain ideas, certain beliefs, certain situations, it's not going to be easy for you to grow. I think sometimes we must just look at life like as a movie. When you're watching a movie, you know that things are going to be changing. It's not like the characters are going to keep on experiencing the same things. Like, there's going to be a lot of different things that be happening to the characters. So life is like that. You're going to meet friends. You're going to lose some friends. Some people are going to die. Your dog is going to die one day. If you're a dog person. I'm thinking of dogs because of this dog. I love dogs, man. I don't know. In this realm that we found ourselves in, we can't press rewind. If you lose something, or if you still feel like you want to experience something, you can't just press rewind and be like, yeah, it's not like when you're watching a movie. So I guess life is like a movie that you cannot rewind. So I'd say the best way to live life is to just observe things happening and try your best to not control things. Like, don't be obsessed with controlling the outcome of things. Like, just do what you can without fear and wait for the results, right? So you mustn't really be afraid of change. When change happens, come up with new ideas now. You live in a different town now. Does it mean that you still have to be the same person that you were when you were living where you were living? Or you have learned some things and you're going to be better? Your relationship ends. Does it mean that you cannot be in another relationship and not make the same mistakes that you've made because you have learned? There's a lot that we can learn. I keep on telling you that I don't think we were brought here to learn anything, but there's a lot that we can learn about this realm, and we can actually build character. We can actually build our own characters, you know. I keep on giving you this example from the movie Undisputed. I think it's Undisputed 2. Now that movie about prisoners fighting in a boxing ring. So the prison guards will bet on their favorite fighters. So sometimes if they don't want their favorite fighter to lose, they would make their opponents work hard, while they give their favorite fighters privileges. You know, they'll get time to actually, you know, exercise, while the opponents are actually working hard, and you find that that's making them tired. But you know what they will do? Some of them, they will actually work out while working. So they will do some push-ups, you know, lift the rocks that are supposed to lift, you know, do some push-ups, you know, throw in a couple of punches. You know what I mean? That's how you must live life. You're not supposed to learn. It wasn't about learning anything, but you can learn. So why not learn what you can learn, even though you were not brought here to learn? So when change happens, look at it as an opportunity to learn. You know, look at change as an opportunity to experience new things. You know, when you experience new things, you learn new things, right? It's actually you. And this is one of the reasons why I say we shouldn't be afraid of having experiences, like, because I think you learn more when you experience something yourself than if you watch other people having an experience. I was having a conversation with someone about boxing. I've done boxing. So watching these other two boxers fighting. Let me tell you their names. Just that it was a ridiculous boxing match. It's the Charleston white guy and one of the island boys, right? So they had a boxing match last week. It was something very ridiculous, really. I didn't even know that was happening until after the fight. I was like, damn. But yeah, I've ended up watching the whole match with someone, and this person was like, you know, when you're fighting, you must be like this, you must be like that. You know, I think it would be very easy for me to knock somebody out. You know, I think I can knock Mayweather out. And I was like, bro, if you've never been in a boxing ring, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to actually be facing someone, right? To actually be facing a person that can hit you. You don't know what that's like. Like, if you're actually facing a person that can actually knock you out. You don't know what it's like to run out of breath while you're fighting someone. So, you know, when you're watching, it's easy for you to judge and be like, yeah, this is what I will do, this, you know what I mean? But if you were in that situation, you wouldn't even think of that. Why? Because you're on survival mode. So it's the same thing with life, you know. You mustn't be afraid to experience new things. And when change happens, I think it's actually best to also change like a few things about yourself, like to learn to adjust, to not still be the same person that you were before change happened. Because no matter how hard we try, we just can't avoid change. I've been in situations where I held on to some things for too damn long and things will go wrong. This is how things work in this room. If you are so afraid of change that you're going to hold on for a bit too long, then something bad is gonna happen to make you feel uncomfortable. So you must know when to embrace change, when to accept change. You must know when to change. Life is complicated, especially for humans. There are a lot of things that you do as a human. There are a lot of things that you are part of as a human. It's not like if you're a chicken. So that means that change is gonna happen all the time. The power is in choosing love over fear. When you take an action, ask yourself, is this action coming from love or coming from fear? Am I doing what I'm doing because I'm afraid, or I'm doing what I'm doing because I actually want to do it? If you can live life like that, I think no matter how bad things are, if you can live life like that, I do believe you can actually make things better for yourself. Even if you are not succeeding, right? Even if when you choose love, nothing good happens, I do believe that you'll be building the right kind of character and you would feel better. It's like I told you that it's much easier to regret never trying than it is to regret trying. Guys who like approaching women know what I'm talking about. You pass a girl that you like and you look back and like, what if I said hi? What if I made a joke? What if I just asked her for a number? Well, sometimes people make things a bit too complicated for them. So, like you create stories in your own head and you end up not doing what you want to do. I know that nowadays relationships suck, but as a guy, sometimes you can even train yourself to choose love over fear by approaching women. Not even because you want to be in a relationship with them, but just because you're afraid to do that. You're afraid of rejection. So if you can get used to rejection, if you can get used to choosing love over fear, then maybe when it comes to everything else, you only choose love over fear. So even when change occurs, you like, it's fine. Let's see what's gonna happen. I trust myself. I trust myself to still make the best decisions that I can make. Decisions that I will end up not regretting because I'll be choosing love over fear. Because what can you do in this realm? So when change happens, you must just cry. Like, I didn't expect this to happen. I lost my job, and you cling. Like, yeah, that's going to make things more difficult for you. So you lose your job and be like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity for me to start my own business, right? Maybe this is an opportunity for me to think of new ideas, The money that I have saved, if you save some money, like, yeah, let me think of new ideas. Because sometimes we do have good ideas that we don't take seriously because we're still comfortable, right? You're too damn comfortable. You're like, yeah, well, I'm getting paid every month. I can start a business, but it's not necessary because I'm getting paid every month. So why take that risk? But then if you lose your job, if life forces you to lose your job, you're like, ish, yeah, there was nothing I can do here. I have to start the business, and you find that it actually works. So sometimes you have to look at changes, opportunity to try new things. It sucks that we can't change the past. We don't know how to change the past. Maybe we can. I've heard a lot of people talk about the Mandela effect. But yeah, you don't know how to change the past. You don't know how to go back to yesterday. You can only be in the moment. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make as humans is that we focus a lot on the past and the future instead of focusing on what is happening now. I make that mistake a lot too. Like, okay, what is actually happening now? Shouldn't I actually be focusing what is happening now and observe what is happening? Try to be creative, figure out what I can do, right? At this very moment, what can I do? Is there something fun that I can do now? Is there something, can I create a challenge for myself now? Can I take on a new journey now? But most of us, we like to live in our own regrets. Like, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have reacted like this, I shouldn't have reacted like that. It's like, there are a lot of things that are happening and that can happen in this realm. That's why you mustn't be afraid of change. There are a lot of things that can happen now. You can meet a person that's going to change your life. You can come up with a decision that's going to change your life because you are actually living in the moment. The problem with living in the past is that you'll be making a lot of things up. Like, when you live in the past, you make a lot of things up. When you live in the moment, when you live in the present, you are seeing what is happening. So you're not really making anything up. You are actually seeing what is happening now, and you are figuring out what you can do now. And I think that's the best way to live as a human. Live in the moment. So even when change happens, it doesn't really feel like a big deal because you're actually living in the moment. Like, you're only focusing on being in the moment. You see, I've passed a few people. I'm not really thinking about them. Oh, the person that I passed was wearing this. The person that I passed was wearing that. The person that I passed looked at me. They might have judged me because I'm recording. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. What matters is what's happening now. What matters is what I'm thinking now. So maybe sometimes we look at life wrong. I've been telling you that I believe this is a hell room. I don't believe that I'm wrong to think that this is a hell room, but sometimes you can look at the hell room wrong, right? You can be in prison and you look at your life in prison wrong, or you spend your time in prison doing a lot of unnecessary things. If you're an artist and you're in prison, because well, you it'll be like there isn't a lot of things that are gonna keep you distracted. You can decide that, you know what, this is my opportunity to get better at what I do. You know, like, because there isn't much that I can do. You know, so I'm gonna look at this as an opportunity for me to improve. You know, you try to live in the moment. It's not easy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not easy because we get attached too easily to other things, especially things that are, things that we find interesting. Like it's very easy for a human being to be attached to things that they find interesting. So when you try to live in the moment, but there are things that you attach to that you find interesting, you find yourself thinking about these things that you actually don't notice, what's in front of you, what can be interesting now. Do you know how many opportunities we have actually taken for granted in our lives? Like, as a human, there are a lot of opportunities that you took for granted because you were focusing on the past. So an opportunity presents itself and you don't even care. This reminds me of the movie Ice Age. So there's this character. His name is Scrat. He's a squirrel and a rat. Like it's funny because they call him Scrat because he's not really a squirrel. He's not really a rat. He's like a combination of both. He doesn't talk. Every time when they show him, he's trying to get this big thing that it looks like a nut, right? He's always chasing that thing. He's the funniest character ever. Like every time when the scene comes to me, like you'd laugh. Like it's very funny. So there was this scene where he went to heaven, and he found those nuts that he's been chasing, but he couldn't focus on one nut because there's too many nuts there. So he can't even focus on one nut. You know what happened? He lost all of them because he couldn't even focus on one. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that you make. Like, you're not focusing on the present moment. So you end up losing the things that you're focusing on because, well, they are very far from you, but you're also losing what you can get now because you are not focusing on what you can get now. You see the problem? You see the mistake of not living in the moment. You see the mistake of fearing change. The human experience is far from easy. Don't like it or not, is it about to rain? Can't trust this weather, bro. The human experience is far from easy. But I do think that through philosophy, we can make things a bit easier for ourselves. We can try to think in ways that actually make our experiences easier. I've noticed that if I don't live in the past, I feel much better. It's just that sometimes I forget and I still find myself living in the past. You spend your time stressing and stressing and stressing and stressing. because you're living in the past. As if the past didn't happen. So you keep on reliving. This reminds me of like movies where, and they've made many movies like this, where the characters are stuck in a loop. So I keep on experiencing the same day over and over again, or the same hour over and over again, or, you know. You find that there are minor details that will not be the same, but you know, they'll keep on experiencing. Like, it gets to a point where they get tired, right? Because they're experiencing the same thing over and over again. And as humans, we kind of like do that in our own lives. Like we do things the same every day, and we think of the past every day, you know. You find that there's something that has happened that has hurt you, so you keep on thinking about it over and over and over and over again. Of course, you're going to find yourself stressing because of that. Because you're stuck in a loop. Stuck in your own mind. And everything is happening in the mind. Here's what's crazy. When you think about something that has happened in the past, it feels as if it's happening now. Right? When you think about something that hurts you, it hurts you now. You get what I'm saying? The more you focus on it, the more it hurts. But the more you focus on new things, the better. Even your mind changes, right? Because now you're focusing on new things, you're focusing on new ideas. You're focusing on feeling new, like experiencing new feelings. So choosing love over fear is very important. And you make sure that all the time, when you make a decision, you are choosing love over fear. What am I afraid of? And you must be very careful, you know, because sometimes you might feel like you're choosing love over fear while you're actually choosing fear. I was having a conversation with someone about, like, they're in this toxic relationship where the person is constantly lying to them, manipulating them, you know, so many different ways. So they still have this person, right? Like, yeah, we know I'm choosing to be with this person. I'm choosing, no, you're not actually choosing love. You're choosing fear. You're afraid. It's not, like, is that what, like, if you really were in control, right? If you really were in control, would you really choose to be with that person or to want that person? Or you feel like you are a prisoner, right? You find yourself like you're a slave to your emotions. You can say that the person sucks, but you are addicted to them. So you are actually choosing them not because of love, but because of fear. You are afraid of losing them, but you know that if you weren't attached to them, then you wouldn't be afraid. Yeah. Yeah, I look camera and voice. Kukarin la.
Okay. When promote, you end up going to New York. Oh, shy again.
And even if she beats me, I will post it. I've been like a bit big. Yeah.
That's my problem.
Oh,
You need to shut. I'll shoot her.
I bet you brother, son,
Bye. Hey, Tara. Kabanga. Akisahamba relax. Hey, let's look at this. Ziyakhala manje.
Hey, let me start this one. Yo. Yeah, still nailand, man. I tlanga is this stick next time. Yo. I touch. I'm going to play this one.
Number 5 is not a ball. It's not a ball, number 5 is number 9.
Hey, the Biola. I'm going to find this stick late. I'm trying to react to the Guyana. Or 2. Oh, never. All right. That's all I got to choose it. Yo. Yeah. Aí o Pelele nisso.
I need to coach a you score the ball that's supposed to be scored. Yeah. Not communicating. Yeah. And then
Hi, snooker. Hi, Bo. Maricon Vitenje. Ah, Marina. Anye.
you score the balls that are supposed to be scored.
I don't do that.
Stop being a strategist. Play to win.
I don't do that.
Let's go. I'll show you. I'll tell you about a smoke. Look, I can competition. I run gold medals. So there's not so many. It's not about my way.
I will learn Hallelujah. That's why you go Riuli.
Worst case scenario, which would be in good. Hey, look, man, card.
Angwazi ukukhatha but try.
Our card. Yeah.
And come on, t-shirt.
Never.
Lay t-shirt. Yo. Nice. Amara, well played. Yo.
What's that key? Now you say warm
What
up.
really?
Warm up.
Phela lamabhola wakhe awabona kanjani?
Push. Oh, but brother, you scored.
No, I know what I'm doing. I have t-shirts.
But I told him you scored the ball. That's supposed to be scored first.
Yeah.
Please.
Ish.
Well played.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm getting beat by a lady. Is it still showing? All right. I'm getting beat by a lady. Yo.
Wow. Is it your game or my game?
It seems like it's yours.
Not yet.
You still don't play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mncane. Babumncane. Babumncane. Babumncane.
Gave me alien la. Yo. Yeah, you I gave it the game because I have a crush on it.